Well, that is unique and different. You are glitchy and sideways. That's very new for right now. So hello everybody, and hello Laura Tash Ebony. Uh, let's see. I've got you there. Liz, I can't hear or see you right now. That is so strange. You may want to dip out and go back in. Yeah. So I get to talk for a little while. Hey, hello, Suzanne. How's it going? Yeah, you're frozen, so we're just going to go back and hello. Let's see here. Hello, Becky. Arty is on her way in, so she's going to be here in just a second. And Mary Jean, how are you? It's good to see people like jumping in early and getting on board. This is great. Oh, and here we go. Let's see here. Hello.
Okay, can you hear
And
me?
now I can hear you, but you're glitchy and you're off. You're off. So I don't know what happened while the little countdown timer was going.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Because, okay, before I heard you, you sounded like a chipmunk, and now you sound like Jabba the Hutt.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's do this then.
I don't know if anybody else can hear him like that, but wow, that was new and exciting. Happy Monday, friends. How's everybody doing?
Well, that was a lot of fun.
Jabba the Hutt. I hear Jabba. I don't know if anybody else hears Jabba the Hutt, but I do.
I hope not.
It's Monday. Hello. Oh my gosh. Are you going?
See, because
Yes.
now I can hear you just fine. So that's good.
I can't wait for that either. I'm so excited for that. That's gonna be like a whole new world for me. And Cookie Con, there's so much to look forward to. You hear it fine.
Yep.
For me, you're really slow and low. Like it takes a while for me to hear your whole sentence.
I'm just slow
That's
and
good.
low always.
Yeah, I can't even understand you. That's odd. Okay, I'm glad you guys are hearing it fine. It's Monday. It's lovely. It's yeah, so much to look forward to. Really? Wow, I'm glad. Okay, try talking
I
now.
sound normal to them. I think it's your earbuds.
Something about an earbud.
That's all right.
We're gonna have to just translate. Yeah, wow. Okay. So I'm glad. Yeah, now I'm all he's gonna come back and sound like Jabba the Hutt to me. But you guys look and sound good. No. I know we have this month we have our Who's It's and What's It's Little Mermaid inspired homework, which is new for the month of January. And I know we have some homeworks that have been turned in. Just beautiful, beautiful work. So we'll see this month.
Yep. Yeah, your picture is glitchy right now, Liz.
Sounds normal, but pick is funny.
Your picture.
Okay, I want to leave.
Whoa.
You start showing homeworks, and I'll be right back
I will do so. Sounds good.
Does that sound?
All right. So we will start with homework that has been turned in over the last week, and there have been quite a few. So it might take a little bit to get through them, but here we go. So first we have. Let's see here. We have Christine Block. There we go. There's Christine's. And Christine said, I'm feeling uninspired with an extra cookie I baked. Really just need the second half of my 3x5. So I posted a poll on my cookie page asking for advice. We'll see if my customers come through for me. In the meantime, here's January. And then she followed up with, bam, there's that extra one. And she adds, okie dokie smoky, added some sparkle for my extra cookie. Hashtag Magoo you homework. Love it. Look at that. Look at this stuff. Ain't it cool? So that I'm not in violation of copyright and such. And then after Christine, we have Kathy Ulich. Kathy, that is so awesome. I love the additional one up there, Mermaid Cove. That's a really cool looking one. Just a great set. And her comment is, this was a fun one. I made one fork as a transfer and one directly on the cookie. I piped some shells, but also used molds with molding chocolate. You should see my table. I'm sure it looks lovely. I'm sure it looks lovely. So that's Kathy. And then here's Chris Thompson. Chris, I love that blue one. That is so cool. So Chris Thompson, she said, I've got gadgets, and then more lyrics to a song that would be copyright infringement. And let's see, love how my dingle hopper turned out. I'll let you guys decipher that. My father-in-law was a world traveler and had some blown glass fishing floats that he had collected.
Ooh.
The blue round cookie is an attempt to recreate one of those. Always loved them. So that's Chris Thompson's.
That's so pretty.
Right on. And then this is Debbie Semmel. Debbie Semmel. And that's January homework done. Hashtag Magoo you homework and hashtag Magoo you. Now, Debbie, your set looks great. I'm really thrilled with it. However, I'm going to tell you that if you want that set to be counted for the new whisk patch, then you should post it to your public page and then just share that to the group page. Because I do see that you have the hashtag Magoo you homework and hashtag Magoo you, which is what you need to do. But throw it on your personal page, then share to the group page. And so
And
that
you can
there's
get that new guy.
That's right. So that's Debbie's work. And now, of course,
So cute.
Danielle Stone. And she said, January's
So
lesson
pretty.
checked off. It would have been finished sooner, but I had to wait for that crown cutter to arrive. Hashtag Magoo you homework.
That is a good crown cutter. Yeah.
Yes. And then I have, let's see, Doshia Freeman.
Dosha. Oh, so pretty. Look at that. Oh,
And
little
she's,
stingrays
now
and the
she
gold
said,
with that. Oof.
it really looks cool. It doesn't look cool. It looks really
Beautiful.
cool. So she said, I loved this month's theme. It inspired me to make a few more cookies. So I'm going to show you a couple more that she did here. So she did this one.
Oh my
Cute little
gosh.
surfboard. And then this one as well.
Wow. How fun.
So you did great. And unless I am mistaken, that's her first official Magoo you homework that she's turned in.
Really?
Yeah. And then I have Laura Tash Ebony. And Laura Tash, she said, not exactly what was expected, but I learned so much along the way. So proud of myself. I was so intimidated by the image, but I had a great video instructor, Arty. Cheers to my first Magoo you class. So that's her first class and first homework turned in. So congratulations.
Yeah, they look super.
Next up is Nikki Hurt. And Nikki, she added, I finished this month's today while taking care of my husband who's locked in the guest room with COVID. I threw in a pirate sword to in honor of my son who loves drawing weapons for some reason. Because yeah, that's what boys do. It's just what we do. Yeah. I found the big shells and the urchins most challenging. I always learn so much from these lessons. Thanks, Arty. And then we have Melanie Skiles. Now, Melanie, let's see. She
Those
said, "This is
auger
my
shells, they look
first."
great.
Isn't it great? And this is her first
Yeah,
McGoo set as well. She said these were fun.
fantastic. Yeah,
And
they
then
look so good.
that's Pam Strauss. What a fun set. It was
Cute. Look at the
fantastical.
cutting board. Yes, fantastical.
Fantastical. And then we
I
have,
love it. Oh, and she got in the
I'll get to that one in a second.
oh,
That's Sharon Green sharing her crown. And here's
oh my
Sharon
God.
Green's homework.
So
And
cute.
Sharon said, "I love this lesson. It reminded me of this shell crown I made when I was mermaid in a parade." So
How cute.
I want to see that parade. I want to be in that parade. Here's Sylvia James, and Sylvia shared,
Pretty.
"This is a fantastical set. Thanks so much."
Yes, that's the word.
Yes.
Fantastical.
So those are the homeworks that have been sent in, and then I had a couple of additional ones that I additional photos to share. This is Dawn Nelson, and look at
Oh, look at
Dawn
that.
and the overachiever here. I bought this small bulletin board to put my McGoo U patches on. They aren't attached yet, but I realized I don't have any room to earn more. So
Yeah.
I guess either a bigger board or another. Another board,
Start
maybe board
stacking
2.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool.
And then let's see here. Um,
Dawn.
Paula Price. There's Paula Price. And she did
Oh,
another one.
remember those guys? They
And
look so good.
she did this right. She posted them to her page, and then she took that post and just shared it to McGoo U. So then we all got to share in her homework that she did. I believe that was January of 2020 or 21. I think it was 20.
Oh, no, it was further away than you think it was 20. It
Oh,
might have been
really?
20. That would be the earliest it would have been.
Okay. And then let's see. So that's
I think. I feel like it was a long time ago, but now
I
I don't
know.
know.
I know. Well, so much has gone on. It's really crazy. So I don't know why your
Yeah,
video is glitchy right now, but
it
it
is
kind of,
still.
yeah, it is a little bit. So yeah, that is a little goofy. But then let's see where everybody is here.
Those homeworks,
All
they
right.
look so dreamy, don't they?
Yes.
So good. Yeah, isn't that pretty? You guys look so great, Dosha. When we lived in Hawaii, the glass walls would wash up on shore. They're so pretty. That looked just like it too.
Hmm.
That's so cool. Um, yay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, if it's shared to it, then I know, and I could check it off, because if I just search the hashtag in Facebook, then because I'm part of the group, all of the group posts will come up. So you want to post it to your page and then share that post um, to
That would be the
the
easiest way
McGoo
for
U
you to
page.
track it too. That's
That's right.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so good. And that was your first homework? I feel like you've been, I mean, I don't want to call you out. No. You've been in for a while. No. You didn't miss a thing. No, all the homeworks, the amazing homeworks, which you can see in the group. How are you, Emily? Oh, we got to see Emily singing Handel's Messiah the other day. Oh my gosh, that
That's
was amazing.
right. Emily, that was so
I know.
awesome.
You never
So
get to be
good.
here. Yay. Hey, Kathy. So good to see you.
So I do
Um,
have a question from the
mm,
Facebook page. It's from Ruby, and she says, "Hi from the UK, looking to stock up on gel colors. What would
mm.
you lovely peeps recommend? Luckily, I've been using Wilton's and gotten by, but I'd like to extend my color palette and try something nicer. All the good stuff costs a bomb here, so I'd like recommendations
Yeah.
beforehand. So anything for Ruby that you might be able to share?"
Yeah, and specifically for the UK, if there's a brand there that's really good, that would
Yeah.
be good. But I mean, because you know, I do love AmeriColor colors. I love Wilton. Um, what's the other? Is it Chef Master that a lot of people
Hmm.
like as well? I
Is
don't know
that
how
the
easy
one?
those are to get there.
Is that the one that's available at Hobby Lobby?
That one
I thought there was one that was
is like
available at Hobby Lobby.
Sunnyside Bakery or something like that.
Oh,
That's
okay.
specifically
And
Hobby
now
Lobby. That
your
would probably
video
be
is
the.
fine,
Oh yeah,
by the way. Ah, and then it just got glitchy again. Oh my gosh! Right when I mention it,
just don't talk about
I won't talk
it.
about it. Yeah, don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah. I think people, I don't know, you get really partial to specific colors and specific brands and things like that. Yeah, I would say like there are so many great ones. You just finished the farmhouse. Oh, I love that one, Paula. Um, there are so many great brands. I wonder which ones are easiest for you to get though, because there are a lot of good ones that if they were easier for me to get, I would probably use them more as well. But um, I'd be curious to see what brands people use over there that are, you know, a little easier because that's a big factor into it too. Even if you really like the color, if it's not something that is maintainable, like I don't want to, you know, buy this every so often.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I don't,
All
yeah,
right.
I'd be curious to see what brands.
Well, here you go.
Does anybody know? Just sign up for advanced class. Yay! Really? Oh, that's fun. Is that the April one? Is that right?
Yes, it
That's
is. I
exciting.
I was very busy this morning and made sure that all of the classes that are scheduled through June are up on the website. So they're all up.
I got a notification. That was exciting.
Excellent. Oh, Kim,
Speaking
nice.
of, there's Pro-Gel. Okay. Yeah, I really like Pro-Gels. And if that's there, I would play with those.
Cool.
Pro-Gel. They're really strong, you know, which is good. Oh, Squires. I've used the Squires Royal Icing Mix and I really like it. That's true. I have used that. And I'm trying to think what other things I've used when I was over there, but I think they always get whatever colors I need, you know? So it's
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's a good one.
let's see here. So then we have yeah, Mary signed up for the advanced class, and so the classes are up. And for those of you that don't know, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tutorial on where to find these things on the website. Um, I always like bringing up the website because we try to make things streamlined and make it as easy as possible. So I'm going to jump into this. And Liz, if you could do me a favor and try to close out all of your anything that's open, and then rejoin, because I'm going to share
Okay.
this and do this. So I
One
will
more
see you in
try.
a sec.
Here we go.
Yes. All right. Here we go. So here is there's the web page. Now, if you go here, right down, right under cookie decorating classes, there's in-person classes. If you just click there, then it will come up with the class right here on the 15th. There's the class on February 5th. Go to the next month. And that's the only one of the in-person classes. These are for the in-person classes. So that's February, there's March, and so on and so forth. Now, if you are looking up here at the top, there's calendar. Now, calendar will have everything, including the live classes. So there's the live class, but then there's also today's McGoo Minute and next week's and the new McGoo U class being available. So that's how you use the calendar. And then once you go into the class, so if you want to get a ticket here, here's all of the information. There's the cost and the date and time. That's the set that you will be doing. And then right here is your ticket. So you can buy a ticket. There are 16 available. So those that are going to this one, it's like it's going to be like a personal class. It's really going to be great. And then here's the location of where the classes are, which is Studios on the Park. It's right in downtown Paso Robles. and that location is it's actually closed during that time. So you enter to the classroom around the back, and we'll have a good time. So that's 10 a.m. this Saturday. And let's see who has more questions. Oh, you got your M patch, Melissa. That's great. Excellent. And hello.
Hi.
You look great. I
Oh,
love
sure.
it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I went through the calendar section. I went through the cookie decorating classes, the in-person classes section as well.
And speaking of, I have my cookies for this Saturday with this guy. Isn't he so sweet? Love him. Oh, owl, little feather.
It's a
bird
great
house
set.
for the owl to live in. Oh, another house.
There's that one. Now I can't hear you. That is incredible. Now video is good, and I can't hear a word you are saying. So there's Liz Wilder, and look at this. Apparently Sage is on. So hello, Sage, and she says, "I love this set," and I cannot hear you right now. My goodness, this is like the broadcast from hell right now. I don't know what is going on. There we go. Let's try that. And hello, Mona. And there you go. I got you now, Liz.
This is haunted. We're haunted today.
I know. I just love the set. That's such a great set.
I want to say I almost said marshmallow, but that's a mushroom. This guy didn't make the cut. So sad, but I'm gonna show him anyway. So it's an owly set. I'm so excited.
There was a question on the the McGoo U student body group, and somebody asked if you're going to make that an upcoming McGoo U class for those who can't join into the live class. So
yeah,
what do you think?
So the answer is almost all in-person. I mean, I shouldn't say almost all. A lot of in-person classes turn into McGoo U classes. So I am in love with the set, so I'm gonna say heck yeah, it's gonna show up at McGoo U. It's just a matter of when it will work out. But yeah, especially if I love the class, it's like it'll typically make its way into a McGoo U. Yay! A new cookie friend. That's exciting. Oh, that's very fun. Use your airline credit from Dallas to fly out for a class. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do it, Debbie. Let's hang out. It's always fun. Hey, Susan. Yeah, and you love anything mushroom? Me too. Yeah, in-person classes are so fun. They're just it's my favorite. But so I'm really excited about this Saturday. You're grocery shopping and have y'all on speaker. Oh, good, good. Hey, grocery people.
Oh, Christy.
You picking up some mushrooms? You getting some mushrooms right now?
We got to get you some headphones, AirBuds. No, AirBud is a movie. That's a dog movie.
AirBud
right?
is a lot of movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's a nice place to visit if I do say so myself. So yeah, there's a lot of people bring their spouses so they can play golf or do wine tasting while they're doing cookies or watch a movie or whatever, and then they continue with their little adventure on the west coast of California here. Let's see, we have a class this Saturday. You showed the completed homework. Yay! Multitasking.
Yes, and in fact, when it comes to that class, this is an intermediate class, so it's going to be from 10 to 2. A beginner class is from 10 to 12:30, and the advanced class, it used to be from from 10 to 4, but we extended that to 5 because we're going to have a break for lunch in the middle there. We'll have a little snack and some waters there for people who are in the advanced class, but there's going to be a lot of time. If you're in a full day class, you want that class to breathe a little bit. So that's why we have that break in there now.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that here. So yeah, so if you can make your way on over. Yes, I got to cookie with Pam. I stole her anklet. I still have it for when you come again. Um, I guess I think that's the April. Is that right?
That's right. That's
That's the April
April,
class.
and again, it's a full day of cooking.
Yeah.
Can you tell a little bit about like what the difference between that and then that intermediate class is, besides
Yeah.
length of time?
I mean, it's definitely more time, but typically, you know, I like to cover certain techniques in beginner and avoid some techniques. And the same thing goes for intermediate. You know, some things I don't get into like too much advanced piping techniques and things like that. Advanced, we just play with all the toys. We do all the things. I don't hold back as far as how intense it's gonna get. There's no guarantees about that we'll hit everything, but I try to, you know, do a little bit of a lot. I
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a lot of just about everything. I don't have the set designed yet, but yeah, we'll use different materials, you know, usually airbrushing and stenciling and painting and piping, and it'll cover a lot of ground.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's always fun. Um, I mean, I go over quite a bit in intermediate as well, which is it's really fun. I mean, they're all the classes are fun for different reasons. They're all really
Mhm.
good. But um, were we going to chat about the whisk patch at all? Updates on the whisk
Yes.
patch.
Yes,
We talked a
absolutely.
little bit about it, but we do have a
Mhm.
new patch. That's the whisk guy, and you earn that when you post publicly the hashtag McGoo homework. So we've gotten
And
really good at
hashtag McGoo.
posting and hashtag McGoo and
Mhm.
tagging Arty McGoo when appropriate. um, so, you know, we've gotten really good at sharing within our group to each other, but it's not a super secret club with super secret handshakes. We want to share the love with everybody.
Yeah.
So in this way, we just, you know, are we're posting the pictures publicly a little bit more openly. Because yeah, I think sometimes I feel like people like, yeah, I don't want to join that, but I have no idea. I feel like it's like, you know, kind of secretive, but I don't want it to be secretive. I just want it to be like, you did it. Sylvia, did you? You did it. You either posted publicly or you got the advanced class ticket. No,
She posted publicly. She's doing it right.
Yay.
Yeah.
Good, good.
And
Um,
the
and that
easiest
can be a
way.
little scary because I think sometimes in the group also you feel like safer, but people are gonna love it. Even if, you know, when you post publicly, people love to see what you've created, and I think it's just a fun way to share with friends and family. You love bragging to your family with homework sets. I'm so glad. That's awesome.
You know, it's again just the easiest way to do it is to post to your public page and then share that to the
Share it.
group. Yeah.
That's cool. That's easier for you too.
Yes. If you
Tracking.
do end up using your cookie page or something like that, or posting to a closed cookie group, the closed cookie group is great. If you, but it doesn't count
Hmm.
because it's not public. If you have a public cookie page and you share to that, you got to let me know. So that's with an email, a note on the group, just so that I can track it and see it.
Link the cookie name to the person's name, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's
Oh,
so great.
good. That's cool.
And just so you know, when you do the whisk, it's 6 months of those posts and you're good. And again, I'm not asking for another post. It's just now instead of going straight to the group, you're going to go to your page. You're going to post it there and then share it to the group.
That's cool. Yeah, another way to earn a patch. That's cool. Also, it's okay to post to cookie groups as long as you have a good credit. Yeah, and as long as if it's a, I mean, you can post to it,
Oh yeah,
but that might not count for your public if it's a closed group. But
yeah. But
um,
remember, you also have the mixer patch, and in fact, I made a lovely photo with everything. So there you go. These are all of the patches that you can get, and so there's the whisk, and right there, that one that's the yeah, there, that little mixer. That mixer is done when you bring in a friend to get an annual membership to Magoo U. So share to
you
your
took that
cookie
picture
groups.
all by yourself, Mr. John.
It's not very good, I know.
I'm just
I
kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know it's not. You see, I know it's not good. I know it's not.
It's not horrible. It's not that bad.
I'm no photographer.
Goals, get all those patches. Yeah, so the makeup homework is happening this month. It's Patchapalooza month because you can make up little holes in your homework. If you missed a couple months here and there, which happens, if you missed all of your homework since you started, that happens too. You can make up some homeworks this month, up to 6. And so
That's
what you
right.
do, if you're not sure which assignments that you have missed, you can contact Mr. John, hello@artymcgoo.com, to get your missing assignment list. And you get full credit. It's not even half credit.
That's right.
It's full credit. But to fill those requirements, you need to post it publicly with the hashtag
Magoo U homework.
Magoo homework.
Yep.
And then, yeah, up to 6
And
months.
Magoo U. So 2 hashtags, and then
2
also
hashtags
tag Arty McGoo when appropriate.
and tag. Yeah, pretty cool. That'll be fun. And some people are already starting to turn in some homeworks.
That's right. So we're seeing those pop up now, and it's been great. And don't forget, for those of you that are going to CookieCon, you want to hold on to those cookies because there will be a collaboration at CookieCon of Magoo U members sharing their homework. So last CookieCon, it was absolutely beautiful to have all those different cookies on display, and lots of different months and different sets. It was great.
Yeah, so a little section in the Sugar Show will be just for the Magoo U homeworks, and it's really cool to see them in person. Yes, you can, Angie. You can go back the last 6 months and do all the past 6 months, and you can earn, boom, you can earn 3 or 2 piping bag patches right off the bat. You could get 2 of these bad boys, right?
Not only can you get 2 of those, but you would also get your first whisk.
Yeah, that's true. Super cool. Yeah, if you want to go nuts, you know. So I just joined in December, so I'd have to do November to have my 3 for the rolling pin. Yeah, I believe it needs to be right for the 3 for the piping bag. It needs to be consecutive, right? Consecutive print.
Yeah.
So it would be so you don't get to pick randomly for that one, but yeah, if you want to earn the patch, the piping bag, yeah, it'll be the consecutive one. Yay! Oh, good. Yeah, it's fun to see. Anything else? Okay, it's time to do tutorial, I think. Guys, I believe it was it Tessie? I believe it was Tessie that asked about consistency of icing. And I said we'd chat about that. So we're gonna do some mixing in, and if you have any questions, shoot them at me. I'm gonna flip my camera around. And
It's no problem. I'm here with you.
you're here.
Yeah.
Oh, I turned off my camera. Okay, that's not what I
Yeah,
want.
that's all right.
This day, man, I don't know what's going on. Okay. My
Tell Mara said icing consistency, the bane of cookie decorating. Yes.
It is the
Apparently so.
difference between a fun time decorating and a frustrating time decorating, in my opinion. If you have it wrong, it's just a fight. You're just fighting the whole time you're decorating. Okay, let's see. How does that? It's a little dark, but that's. I think is that fine?
Yeah, it looks fine.
Okay.
We'll see
Right,
once you
so
have something on screen.
Yeah, that's true. So I have my icing straight out of the mixer.
Brought to you by Ziploc.
Brought to you by the commercial. Let's see. I have a spatula.
Hello,
So
Sandra.
this is right out of the mixer. This is thick. This is what my icing looks like. And just for reference, if you're ever curious or want to try my recipe, it is free to use on the website, artymcgoo.com. Royal icing. I have a video making it. I have just the straight recipe. So this is how thick I like it to come out of the mixer. Stiff peaks. This stuff's ready to pipe with. But it doesn't always come out this thick. Sometimes like you'll do a mix and it'll just come out really thin. Sometimes that happens. And I honestly don't know why, because I weigh my ingredients. Like I know what's going in. And just sometimes it doesn't thicken quite like this, but it's still very usable. The icing is still great. But this is what I prefer to see come out of my icing, of my mixer. So this is what's straight out of the mixer. I could pipe flowers with it, it's really stiff. So this would be one of my piping consistencies. I could use this right now as piping. Let's put some into our bowl. And I do use, sorry, a little water. I do use a little corn syrup in my icing always. And that's whether it's going to be piping or any kind of consistency.
I don't know if you could, I don't know if you can see the comments. Okay, cool.
I can see them. So let's change up our consistency here. My favorite way to do that is with a spray bottle. If I'm doing larger quantities, I'll go ahead and use just the faucet, but this is a really good way to keep it controlled. So let's take it. So I would so as I add some water, of course, it's going to get thinner. Ooh, splashy. So this is quite a bit looser, but I would still consider this piping consistency, just a looser piping consistency. So it is a range that you're looking at, and a lot of it is your preference or the job that your icing has to do. So if I were to pipe roses, I wouldn't thin it at all. If I were to pipe roses, I want it to be just about as thick as possible, because I like really stiff icing to pipe roses with and things like that. So this is getting towards lettering consistency, but I would still consider this piping. So you see it still keeps its peak, but it just flops over just a little bit. So it's getting into that lettering consistency range, but you could still do quite a bit of piping. Like I would like this consistency to pipe some lace work and things like that. This would be a really nice consistency. Because if I cut the hole small enough, I could pipe really, really fine lace work. When you say piping on homework, is it this thinner one? It usually when I say piping, it is the thinner one. I don't typically use the really thick piping, except for when I pipe flowers, things like that really need to be super thick. I don't use that a whole lot, like the what comes out of the mixer straight from the mixer. I will typically thin it out a little bit. So this would be the consistency for the shells this month. Yeah, this would be a good one for the piping for this month, because this would hold, and this is, like I think I have my bag over there that I actually use for filming. But because this would keep its shape really well, but it wouldn't be too hard on your hands. It would still keep some texture, and it would be really good for outlining. So this is a nice thin piping, in my opinion. This is what I would call thin piping. So you'd still get, I wouldn't quite use this for lettering just because I would get too many peaks. I'm actually going to bag some of this because I'm going to I like this consistency here. I'm just gonna take a little bit of this out, so then we can see them side by side, piping out of the bag. And so I'm putting this into a small tipless bag and just tying that off. I should mark these. Let me grab a Sharpie here. So I'm going to call this piping. Just a key in there. Now let's take it to a more lettering friendly consistency. And of course, this also has a range too. I think every consistency, there's a range of workable, you know, thicknesses that will still do. Like if I have a cookie that needs piping and lettering consistency, I will try to go in between that thin piping and that lettering so it can do both jobs. Instead of making a bunch of consistencies, I tend to try to kind of make little combinations of them. So this is like lettering consistency. So it's not keeping that really stiff shape. You can see it's settling down. So whatever happens in the bowl is what's going to happen on your cookie. So if you want it to settle down, you want to see it settle down in the bowl. So with lettering, you want it to keep its shape. So it's still keeping that little out, kind of that shape that I pulled up, but it's really calming down and settling back into itself. I know a lot of you guys were at CookieCon, and I'm trying to think of her name. She talked about lettering and stuff, and when she pulls it up, when she's looking for lettering consistency, she likes to pull it up, and she compared it to the fin of a captive killer whale. Is that what it was? She's like, it's sad, but that's what she thinks. That she sees that little fin flipped over, kind of like how it turns on its side. And that's what she's looking for her consistency. Can you guys remember her name? Oh, I can't think of it off the top of my head. I can picture her face. I can picture her whole class. It was a great class, core class. So I'm going to bag some of this. This one is a great lettering. Ashley Nelson, thank you. That was good. It was a great visual. And so now I think of it every time. I'm like, oh, poor little whale. So lettering, we'll put a little bit in there. And we'll put it to the text. We'll letter with it. And as you work with these different consistencies and kind of do and this doesn't take a lot of icing to experiment with, which is nice. You don't have to bag a whole huge thing of it. You should play with it and make several bags and just, do a little scientific experiment. See what your preference is, because you might like it a little bit thinner, a little bit thicker for your piping or your lettering. I think the biggest range that people have is in the flooding. I think the flood consistency has such a wide range of what people are looking for, like whether you dip your cookies, you want a really, really thin flood. If you're going to be doing dimensional stuff, like if you're going to do a face where you want some puffy cheeks, you're not going to want your flood to be quite as thin. You're going to want a thicker flood. So there are a lot of things to keep in mind when you're doing your flood and just with your own preferences. Can we keep the video from this live forever somewhere on our group Facebook page for reference later? I think so. I think Mr. John can do that.
Yes, it will be available on the Facebook page, and also I will repost to YouTube. And after editing quite a bit out, this tutorial will be available on YouTube and on the Facebook page again.
Oh, keeping it in perpetuity, that scares me. Makes me want to refilm it and make it better and pay attention to what I'm saying. So I'm adding some more water. Of course, I've taken out some icing, so I'm not having to add much water because I have such a small amount of icing left in here. But I'm thinning it. I'm thinning what was lettering consistency now into my flood. And what I'm looking for is I don't like to fight my flood very much. Like I know it's good to keep it to kind of make it thicker flood just for cratering purposes or things. People have a lot of theories, and it depends on your humidity and all that jazz. There's so many different things that go into working with sugar. But what I like, what I prefer, is when I pull it up, I want to see it all completely settle down, calm down in about 10 to 12 seconds. I might be on the thinner side of flooding just because I just don't like to fight the smoothness. Like I really wanted to get smooth without like really working at it so much. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I hit about 9 and I was looking at this area right here. And I'm looking at about when that gets completely smooth again. And that took about 9 seconds. So it is, you know, kind of on the thin side, I think, for a lot of people. But that's about what I like it to be. I just like, and I typically don't count it anymore just because I know what I like to see, you know, in my icing. But when you're trying to figure out what you like to use, you know, just marking on your bag, like maybe just adding a little bit more water to another bag and seeing what you prefer. And keeping them labeled and then working with them just on wax paper or on extra cookies. That can really help you get an idea for what you want to look for in your flood. Because like I said, this one, the flood probably has the widest range. And if I had a specific purpose for my flood, if I knew I was going to be doing a lot of dimension, a lot of faces, and I wanted a lot of puffy details on my cookies, I would go thicker on my flood. So the situation that I'm going to be decorating does affect, it does like kind of inform my thickness of my icing. So this one is our flood. These are the main consistencies as far as what I use. There are, you know, I would go thicker for if I was specifically piping flowers. You know, to kind of multitask, I'd go in between some of these just if I could get away with not making 3, which I don't usually use 3 consistencies. I'll try to get away with 2, you know. So let's see it in action, okay? But if you're looking for what, you know, what works best for you, it would be great to do a couple different floods and see if you do like it on the thinner side or the thicker side, and maybe put the seconds, like, okay, this was about a 9-second flood. This was about a 12-second flood. You know, you probably wouldn't have to do every second to decide what you liked, but you would definitely get a really good idea about what you like to work with and what works best for you. I got some scissors here. So when I cut, I like to push some icing down into the tip of the bag. And I am a seam cutter, so I look for that seam and I want to go straight up. And I'm going to cut this really small at first, and maybe just keep it small. You can always cut it bigger, but you can't cut it smaller. So push the icing up into there and then cut straight across the line. Again, cutting it small. And my flood typically, and again, depending on how thin it is, you know, you might want to cut it really small, and depending on how little your sections are that you're flooding on your cookie would depend on how big you cut it. But so this is my piping. So with my piping, I always like to cut off the tails, get them out of my way. So piping, this would be a great consistency for lace work and things like that. Once we get it going here, let's see. So it has really nice kind of elasticity. It's not breaking because it's not too thick. I will notice a bit of a curl sometimes. So I'll just kind of pay attention to which direction it's curling. And then I'll adjust my bag, like, oh, if I just rotate it this way, it really counteracts the curling of the icing. If it's too thick, it's just going to curl no matter what. So you need to be careful of that. The other thing is I'm using tipless bags, of course. And if you really want to get precise, I find that tips are the way to go. Like I can get a lot more precise when I'm using tips. So there is a learning curve to using tipless bags. But if you're working a lot of very intricate things, a tip is going to make a difference. If you're going to just pipe some cute things that aren't quite as particular, and I did get a little break here in this because I'm talking. So you'll still see things like that, like that'll happen, but having the right consistency definitely will help with lessening, getting breaks and things like that in your lines. I wish I could zoom in. Oh, I can zoom in. Okay, well that's good. So I'm piping really tiny, really close lines there. And this is a great consistency for that because it's not going to spread, it's not going to touch each other and get, messy. So there's my piping consistency. And I could probably get away with lettering a bit with this. I'd want it probably a little bit thinner if I wanted to do kind of a hybrid of the lettering and the piping. But let's go ahead and try lettering a little bit with it. If I were to letter with this, I would probably just do a simple, single line, kind of monoline type of a text. So it's not settling down at all, right? As I'm writing my words, the line kind of doesn't settle down into itself, so it looks kind of shaky. Whereas a lettering would be a little more forgiving. So here's my lettering consistency. And again, I could probably get away with piping some things with the lettering. And I'm always looking to cut out work for myself. So that's kind of a nice thing. If I wanted to just pipe with this lettering, I could probably get away with doing a lot of piping with this. Like in our lesson this month, this one would definitely work for a lot of our shells. I think all of them, it would be a nice in between. So I can outline and flood with it, which is nice. I'll still get some texture. If I really, really worked around with this and fought with this, I could get it quite smooth, especially for small things or transfers. So that's nice. But where it really comes into play is when we do lettering. So we're going to see that it'll calm down a little bit as it connects. So again, I'm just doing a monoline, no thin, thick or anything. It's just straight lettering. I'm writing it bigger. I should have probably just kept it the same size, but so you'll notice, and you can help it along, but you'll notice as these connection points, it kind of settles down into itself, so it doesn't look as shaky. It kind of is a little more forgiving as far as the appearance of the lines. So this time I'm going thin up. I'm going to do a little more pressure coming down so that I have a thicker line coming down. I should stop talking and pipe, but so every up stroke, I'm just keeping it thin. Every time I'm coming down, I'm just giving a little bit more pressure. Thin up and then kind of slower and more pressure coming down. And then, just it's workable also. So that's the other benefit of the lettering, the little slightly thinner consistency is you can adjust it a bit where you couldn't really do that with the piping consistency. So it settles down by itself, but also it has the benefit of still being workable. Just a little more forgiving is what I find the benefit of actually creating a lettering consistency for. You don't have to fight with it as much, which is what I'm all about. I don't want to fight my flood. I don't want to fight my lettering. This could definitely be a little thinner. That would be even a little more forgiving as far as, and it also depends on the size of the text that you're writing. It depends on a lot of things. There's always so many variables when you're decorating. Here's my flood. Let's try piping with our flood. So I cut it really small. So you could, you know, pipe some lines with it. Just know that it's going to grow a bit. And it's really just, it's not what it's made for, right? You're going to get inconsistent, thick and thin lines, and you risk the chance of it running together and kind of becoming a puddle. As far as writing with it, it's going to just not look as clean. The loops in some of the letters might close in. It's just not really the right tool for the job. But depending on how big you go, you know, it might work. But sorry. But as you see, these connections, they lose kind of the detail that you're looking for. And it looks good at first, but what's going to happen is it's just going to kind of, it looks like you just piped it with like Elmer's glue, you know, where it's not quite as clean and nice looking. It might work for some things, of course. Like a wet on wet word would probably be pretty cute, where it wouldn't grow. It would probably kind of contain the word a little bit better on a wet on wet. And it's not terrible, but again, it's just not the right tool for the job. But for this, you know, this job is just getting a nice smooth flood. I definitely outline and flood with this. I don't use two different consistencies because it will hold that line. It'll hold the icing in. Any thinner, and you might start getting problems with it holding that line, especially if you're doing a wet on wet where you're adding more volume. That's where you can run into problems of it going over the edge of the cookie and things like that. But it is nice to work wet on wet with this, particularly because it is thin enough where you can work with it for a while, but it won't run off the edge. So this is kind of the sweet spot for a lot of things. You don't fight a nice smooth flood. You know, you're not going to get a lot of dimension, but you still can. There are workarounds for that. This is going to get really flat. It's and you can get some puffiness too. Like you can see this little transfer here is quite nice and puffy, little button. So if I were to do a face with my flood, where I did want some where I did want some dimension. So say I have a face here and some eyes, right? So just, that's where I'm going for. I'm going to flood it. And if I wanted to save that little space for like dragees or to do something else with the eyes that's deeper, or do eyes beforehand, there's other ways to get that depth too. But as far as dimension, so I've really lightly, shallowly flooded my face. But say I want to have some puffy cheeks, maybe some nose dimension. You just have to be patient with that, because anything I do right now is just going to keep adding to the volume, and it might go wider rather than up. So what I want to do is wait for the right time to add the dimension that I want to be puffy, as far as using something that's loose. If I thought ahead and went, oh, I'm going to use this for dimension in a face, I'd make this a little thicker. But since I didn't, what I would do is I'd wait, and then I'm going to go in and test. So I'm going to put my tip into the cheek and see how it behaves. So I'm puffing it up. I'm just adding some dimension right underneath the surface. And just adding to that and moving it around to make sure it stays smooth. And so a lot of it is settling down, but I do have some nice cheeky dimension right there. So you can still get dimension. And another thing that I really like to use, especially if I'm using something that's thin, is to use my Speedy heat tool, because once I saw where I liked it, oh, I really like that dimension right there, I would just use, so this is an embossing tool. I do have this in the shop. You don't want it to get too close because it can actually start to like, it is hot, but it will freeze the dimension where it's at. I think I'll do that right now. Let me plug this bad boy in. So this is kind of the workaround about getting some nice dimension with a thinner flood. So I'm going to add that dimension back in because it all kind of settled down, and I want more cheek. I want some more cheek action here. So I'm going to just add that dimension. And you can be patient and kind of do it that way as well. That works. So I have some cheeks, and I think, okay, that's where I want it right there. I'm going to hit it with my heat tool. And of course it's not freezing because it's heat, but it's gonna kind of crust that dimension where I want it to be. And it freezes it where I'm like, oh, that's where I like it. And that's, so the heat tool kind of creates that almost like using a thicker flood, but without the risk of having peaks and things that you'd come across maybe if you had a thicker flood. And now that it's crusted over, I can go in and we add a little nose dimension as well. So it's still not totally crusted over. It's still soft and still workable. So now I can add a little more height to that, and it's not just going to keep sinking into it. So it is doing some sinking and some of that. I might hit it with the heat tool again if I really like that right there. So that's those are kind of my three basic consistencies. And of course, like we said, you can do a lot in between. It's all about a range. Each of them, it's a lot about the range that you're comfortable with using and what your preferences are. But these are the three main that I use, with some little in between. Sometimes, so like a thicker flood. Typically, it'll be a thicker flood if I do mess, or a thicker piping. This is right about where I like the lettering. The lettering I feel like is a little more persnickety. It's a little more precise to get the right consistency to get lettering. These you can definitely kind of have quite a range and still workable and still usable in that same way. But lettering is a little more particular. Any questions or thoughts or concerns? Go ahead. You guys have been very quiet, either very quiet or Mr. John has not been showing me your comments. I'm not sure which. But and my nose has sunk down. So I should hit that with I wonder if I did a nose with lettering, that would probably work really well, because that wouldn't sink into it as much. Good. I'm glad. I know consistency, it's a lot of just playing with it and figuring out. I'm so glad. I love mine too. I use it all the time. I think it's really useful, especially for dimension and things like that. And just for getting to the next step, you're like, I don't want to wait for this to crust over. I want to move right on. And I don't want to like move it onto a dehydrator. I think that's yeah, I like it too. I'm glad to hear you like it. I just wish that the cord was longer. I mean, in all honesty. I want to walk around with them all the time. Just have them in my pocket. That yeah, that's a creepy little face there now. And if you are want to use it all at the same color, of course we used white today. And the other thing is I don't use white food coloring. This is no food coloring at all, but if you wanted all the same color, of course you would, color your icing at the beginning when you made your piping consistency, and then just watering it down each step. You'd have the same color all the way through, which is really nice to have that consistency of color as well. And that's my my demo today on consistency. Did we cover it all? I mean, there's there's always Oh, I just gotta, I turned on my camera again. Okay. Today, guys, it's just a lovely day. Okay, back camera, and here we go. Front camera, okay. Where's my settings? Okay, no, I can't get out. Anyway, friends, I don't know if you're still with me on this crazy, yay. There we go. Good. I'm so glad. I hope that helped, or just gave some suggestions maybe you want to try. I really think if you're whichever one, if there's one consistency that you're having trouble with, oh, battery power, that's interesting, right? Just to go, a little portable guy. If there's one consistency that you're having a tough time with, I really suggest just bagging them up with just variations of slightly thinner, slightly thicker, and seeing where you like what you like specifically. I use Wilton Meringue. It's just easy to get, and I know what it's going to do. I've used some other kinds, and I feel like they behave differently than what I expect. Like I'm like, oh, this one's tightening up the day after, or this one's like separating a lot more. So I'm just really used to Wilton, and I like it. So there's so many just different things that affect your situation though, whether it's humidity or your just the different type of sugar you use. It affects it so much, and it's going to be different even if you know exactly what you're putting in. It's going to be different every day. It's but kind of controlling what you expect, and that's why I suggest weighing. Thank you. I suggest weighing your ingredients and things like that so that okay, it wasn't this, it wasn't this. And that helps you to kind of adjust for yourself. Is there a difference in icing performance using the smooth piping bag versus the texture one like you're using? That's good. I think it's more of a hand feel for people. I don't know that it would affect, I mean, everything affects everything, right? There's always, yeah, I'm not sure, but I think it's more of a preference again. I don't think it would. Yeah, that's interesting. Because I only use these, I've only used these for years now. I do notice though, when I use a tip, I'm like, oh man, the good old days. It does help with precision things for me. If you use the nice longer PME tips and things, it does make a difference. So if you're having trouble piping with a tipless bag, go back to tips. I think it definitely helps. You know? Yeah, it is nice to have a place for everything. Good. I forget to use your heat tool. I would benefit using it based on what you. Good, good. Yeah, like anything that has a quilted texture, I really like using it, or anything with dimension, especially. Yay! I'm so glad. I hope it helped. I'm glad it sounds like it did, and it really makes a difference. Um, Getting the right consistency for you, and what you want it to do. When it's not doing what you want to do, that's a pain. It's just a fight. So, yeah, don't let other people's consistencies like. I don't feel like there's really a right consistency. It's really more what you want it to do, and how it feels to you. Do some bags. Wait. Try do some bags. I missed it. Do some bags. Can you post it again, Mr. John? That question. Um, when I do want to say when I pipe roses or something, flowers that are really where I'm using my really, really thick consistency, I will typically use a Wilton disposable bag because those are really thick. And when I pipe roses, like I use quite thick icing. So I can pipe roses with my tipless bags, but you do run I run the risk of busting through. And usually I can see it happening. I can see it thinning out in certain spots and little stress areas in the bag where I'm like, ooh, it's getting a little thin right there. But I don't pipe with that thick of icing that often. So having a couple Wilton bags on hand is pretty simple. Mr. John, can you post that question again? I missed it. It was something about tips. And I'll use tips in these bags, my tipless bags, and couplers and rings and things like that. I don't know. I think he might be either. I don't know. I only see the comments that I can't go back and see the old ones. So yeah, that's I think everything. Unless you guys have any other questions. I'm looking at my set here. And just like for example, like this is all flood. Like everything on the little owl is with a flood. And of course, that's a flood with some piping on top. I've seen demos where some cookers mix their meringue powder with water first and others just add it to the other ingredients. Okay. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I think it's, once you've experimented enough, you kind of know what works for you. I've never put in the meringue powder with the other ingredients. I always mix the meringue with the water first and I whisk it until it's frothy. And I feel like I get a lot less craters that way. So the meringue powder plus water, really getting it to a frothy, bubbly state, and then adding the cream of tartar, and then again whisking that. Then I just dump in everything else. But those and again, sometimes I wonder if it's just superstition because I know, that this has always worked. But I have tried it a couple other ways, and I'm like, okay, I'm noticing either the icing is breaking down faster or I'm getting more cratering. And so, yeah, just almost keeping a scientific journal, like, okay, when I used this, this happened and this didn't work out as well. I was lucky enough to, what icing recipe I use is a slightly modified, is it Antonia 74? It's slightly modified from that recipe. And I found that early on and it just was like, wow, this works so well. And I'm not getting cratering and I'm not getting a lot of bubbles and things like that. So if you haven't tried it, try it out. And yeah, and just play. I think it's all about playing. Just maybe using just like we did today, just slightly adjusting a little bit thicker, a little bit thinner, and see what works for you. Hey, Mr. John.
Hello. How are you? Just letting you know that I'm back because I didn't even know if you could hear me. I was like on with
I
a
couldn't.
band
No.
manager. So yeah, it was. Yeah, sorry about that.
You're multitasking. That's good.
Yes, I
I
am.
feel like I missed a question in there, but I don't know. I hope everything got answered. Yay! Thanks for joining me. You
There's
guys are
that,
awesome.
and you got the heat tool and demos.
It was something about a tip, but maybe it was.
Oh, the bag tips. Let's see. I got it. Hold on. It's all good. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. Oh, Christy, it's just a great day. You went grocery shopping with us, and then you got a patch in the mail. That's a good day.
All
Yeah,
right.
did you find that one question or not? I think it was. So I just saw it and I was like half read it and then it went away. Oh, do you use the same bag when you use tips? Okay. Oh, and so I did kind of answer that, but yeah, I will. But if I'm gonna just be piping a lot of roses where I know it's gonna put a lot of strain on the bag, I will just use the Wilton thicker Wilton disposable bags. But I will do quite a bit of. I will use tips with these, but yeah, depending on the job, if I'm doing a lot of piping with it or really thick piping, I'll go with the Wilton. So that's the demo for the day. It was fun. Whenever I pull out the icing, I wanna play some more. I learn something new every time I decorate. Yeah, so have a great week. I'll see some of you, oh my gosh, on Saturday making these cookies. I'm so excited. It'll be so fun. And maybe see some of you in future in-person classes. It's always a good time. And if not, maybe in March. Other things to look forward to. I hope you guys are staying healthy and safe. Oh my gosh, it's crazy right now. And yeah. Did we cover everything?
Absolutely.
Did
Yeah.
we cover it all in icing? No, yeah. So we'll see you next Monday.